Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Car Musings. I'm literally sitting in my car by myself, just talking to you guys. No one's accompanying me here. In general, I have the idea that I would do a podcast accompanying other people, having guests, having people that I speak with. But over here, I'm in my car by myself talking to you guys, and this is the first episode, and honestly, I'm coming with no script whatsoever. I decided I'll just speak from my heart. But of course, first, I just need to introduce myself and introduce this show at large. And by the way, I want to apologize. You may hear some background noise right now. Maybe a bit of the AC draft coming, maybe an airplane flying, in the background as it is right now. I don't know. Of course, I apologize for it, but who cares? This is raw stuff. This is raw content that I'm giving to you guys right now. I'm just doing what I can right now, sitting in my car by myself. And like I said, I just want to speak from my heart this time to everyone. I want to speak from my heart. I'm not coming with any sort of script. But first of all, yes, I want to introduce the show at large. I want to introduce the Instagram page, the YouTube channel that Bezrat Hashem, with God willing, that we're going to have. The idea is, of course, the Instagram page says my name, Josh Friedman, basically. And, for now, I guess what I am, at least on the Instagram account and what I may be on the YouTube account, is you could describe me as a Jewish philosopher. It's a way to describe it, and I don't mind it. I'm just putting out content here with just, certain outlooks on things and with the intellectual pursuits that I'm trying to bring forth to everyone here. That's really what this is about. And this is the first episode of a podcast that we're gonna start together, and Bezrat Hashem will have guests with me, but I also, I even appreciate speaking to you guys just alone from the heart again. And this is kind of the general idea that I want to start with. Why did I decide to do what I'm doing right now? Right now I'm currently writing books and I speak to people here and there, and I want to start a podcast. I already wrote a book that is published, technically, at least it's self-published. It's actually originally in Hebrew in this case, but it has an English translation. There's two of those versions out there. It's self-published. And you may wonder why. I mean, to be honest, I'm 20 years old and there are other things I can do. I am trying to lead a normal life. Why am I taking out any time to do this? And honestly, the answer is, on the one hand, I may not fully know. There are parts to us, to our soul, where we're drawn in certain directions, where we know that this is the thing for me, this is the right thing for me to do, but we may not fully understand that all the time. Realize, we may not fully understand that all the time because our soul is so immensely vast. You understand? So we may not understand that all the time. So, on the one hand, I could give you answers to why I do this, but honestly, on the other hand, I may have I may be able to look in, I may have a glimpse into why I do this, into what draws me here, and into why I'm drawn here. But sometimes we don't even fully understand it. Because when you find something that your soul is drawn to, and that you feel that this is your purpose, and I want to do this, and I should do this, of course you're going to have reasons for it. But since it's from your soul is eternal. So there actually may be parts to it that you may not fully understand, or that you may not understand at all, because our soul is eternal, and God is eternal, and our soul comes from God. You understand? But to begin with, why am I doing this? You know, like I said, even right now I'm leading a normal life, but as as a Jew coming from an Orthodox Jewish background, as I've been in, growing up in that environment, growing up in that background, and especially, at least in my case, seeing a nice variety of different flavors and sides to that life, growing up in that, experiencing all of that, and at some point in my life wanting to come also to my own personal thoughts. I came to a lot of interesting discoveries in my life, honestly, I did. and I came to a lot of insights and very interesting experiences. And honestly, putting it all together, it's the sort of thing where I think there's something, I believe that there's something that needs to be simply expressed. It just needs to be expressed, and it's something that cannot stay alone because I see the Orthodox Jewish world that's here today and that we're in. And honestly, I think we are missing something so vital. It's actually a few things, and it's on a few fronts. But there's just, to put it this way, there's just something missing. There's something missing. There really is. And it's sad because there shouldn't be something missing. If we call ourselves the Orthodox Jews, it's our way of marketing ourselves that we are the authentic Jews, that we are carrying the tradition basically as it was from the beginning to now, and we are the bearers of the true religion. That is the thing that we are genuinely advertising, whether we really realize it or not. This is the sort of thing that many non-Jews, when they hear the term Orthodox Jews, when they see Orthodox Jews, this is something that comes to their mind because our very presence and what we stand for and everything of that sort does come out to them as this sort of advertisement of we are the bearers of the quote unquote true religion and we are keeping the true tradition, the authentic tradition of such, right? And so it would be sad to say, for me to say, or for anyone to say that there's something missing. Wouldn't it be sad? But unfortunately, I feel that there is something missing. I feel that there is something missing, and this is what it is. To put the nakuda, to put that point of what I'm talking about, to put it forth in description, the best I could say is really what I'm saying here. What do I mean? Because when we say that we advertise as bearers of the true religion, right, and that we are upholding an authentic tradition of it, well, are we always doing so? That is the question I'm asking myself. As I've grown through different years of my life, are we even always doing so? Because I honestly feel like sometimes we're not. And when I say I, it's not just me. It's beyond me. It's other people too. All our souls are connected. My thoughts sometimes are your thoughts. I think that we're all mutually sometimes coming to these sort of thoughts where we think that something is missing, and what is missing is that we're actually not being our authentic selves. And it's by this very nikuda, it's by this very point that I actually want to start this entire initiative of being this quote unquote Jewish philosopher, of writing the books that I do, of having already written a couple books basically, and of starting a podcast. It's initially stemming from this point. We are Something is missing and we're not being our authentic selves. And furthermore, just as a detail of this, we're not thinking as our authentic selves. We're not. This is what I feel. And I don't want this to go too long. This is genuinely an introduction, but of course, now I have to elaborate. What exactly am I talking about? And it's almost hard to even start at a point, at a real point, a real talking point, to even describe what I'm talking about. It's a little bit hard, but for the sake of clarity and just, putting it out there, I guess I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try to start somewhere with, just somehow put it into language for now. But I mean, let's just talk about our current feelings right now, as Jewish people, even as Orthodox Jewish people, with the current politics, what's going on in Israel. Let's express some of our feelings here, some of my feelings here, at least. You know, it was very sad after Tisha B'Av to see that Mashiach still hasn't come. Right now, it's the 10th of Av, it's the day afterwards. And I almost never do this. I really don't. I just don't. But I posted on my status, my WhatsApp status, saying that I'm sadder today than I was on Tisha B'Av. I'm sadder today because it's true. I was sadder today after Chatzos of today, after midday of today, when all the restrictions of the customary 9 days have finally been lifted, all these mourning restrictions, these mourning customs have finally been lifted. After this entire process, including Tisha B'Av, this entire spiritual cleansing process with the fast of Tisha B'Av and with the mourning of Tisha B'Av and of the 9 days and of the 3 weeks and of Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, I want to let you know, guys, that someone, spited me in a certain way that was hurtful. I think a day or two, before Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, and I decided to forgive them on Shiva Asar B'Tammuz because what else is the point of it, right? And it's just this entire cleansing process, this entire so meaningful, so impactful experience if you decide, obviously to go about it the right way. But after all that, now, after the year that we experienced this year, with October 7th, the worst attack since the Holocaust and a terrible attack after the Holocaust. It's just unbelievable that this happened to us as a people, of course. But after all that we've been through, after Chatzos of today, after midday of today, and Mashiach hasn't come yet, I still do not see. I don't know. Maybe he's here, but right now, and I'm complaining. I honestly am complaining, and it's sad that I feel this way right now. You know, and maybe honestly, on some way, maybe in some way I don't feel this way. Maybe in some way I am having a positive attitude, but I don't know. I'm conflicted. I generally feel like I just don't see the Yemos HaMashiach, that I just don't see the redemption in front of me right now. And the fact that I don't is honestly devastating to me. It's more devastating to me today than it was yesterday on Tisha B'Av. Because now the whole process is done and there still is not a redemption that I can see before my eyes. That is devastating to me. And yes, on the other hand, maybe I'm a bit positive because just for the reason that I overheard, you know, whatever, to be vague, I overheard someone say that on Tisha B'Av, he asked his friends in Eretz Yisrael in Israel, did Mashiach come in Israel yet? And they said, no, but we feel like it's starting to really happen. That's what they told him. For that reason, I'm positive. Maybe the redemption is not before my eyes right now, but maybe the process finally started before my eyes. I hope so. I hope so. But why am I talking about all this? What am I getting at? Well, the point is, yes, it's devastating that I still do not see Mashiach. It's devastating that there still isn't Mashiach here. But I want to say that for us as a people, I look at this situation, which is heartbreaking to me. And sometimes I wonder, I've been wondering about this for some time. Sometimes I wonder, what are we missing? Why isn't there a Mashiach? And just one aspect of this, I feel, and I honestly think that one aspect of this is that we're a little too afraid, that we're actually not initiating certain things that need to be initiated to even allow for a messianic era. It's amazing that there's a temple institute. And by the way, I'm sorry if you're a bit too much background noise, but this is a series of car musings, so you're gonna hear some car background noise. Like I said, it's raw content here, bro. It's all raw content. But as I was saying, it's nice that we have an organization, the Temple Institute. It's the only organization of its kind that I'm aware of, though. The Temple Institute is an organization in Jerusalem where they're preparing things for the Beis HaMikdash, for the Holy Temple, for the final and third Holy Temple. They're preparing everything that they can that you would need for when that time is right to finally properly have the third temple. That's what this organization is about, and in my opinion, it's the most amazing thing. I understand that for certain ridiculous reasons, it may be a bit controversial to some. To me, it's not, and I think it's one of the most amazing things of our generation. You know, but it burdens me that they are the only organization of their kind right now. If you know what I mean, if you know what I really mean by that. Even, it's not necessarily a problem that's only one organization doing this. What I really mean is the attitude that's in the air right now. We're still missing something. you have this one organization, I think, that's trying to go in the right direction, but you have so many people, so many Jews that are still not necessarily in the right direction, of course, including me, because no one's perfect. But the problem is, we're not in the right direction. I'm trying to say that there are certain initiatives that we are not taking. As a nation, we need to have a Beis Hamikdash. We need to have Karbanos, whatever that means at this point. But we need to have that sort of thing. We need to have Levium singing there. We need to have a place where you could have Joe Schmo go there and come out a Navi and come out a prophet, just like what happened by the prophet Yonah, where in our tradition it said that he was just an ordinary Jew who went to the Beis Hamikdash by the Simchas Beis HaShoeva. He went to the Holy Temple on the festival that they do on the Sukkot holiday, or during the week of the Sukkot holiday. There is a festival which basically commemorates pouring water libations over the sacrifices. That's obviously not really the point. It was on the second day of the Sukkot festival, and it was considered a very big party that they actually held at the temple compound. Yonah, Yonah is Jonah. This ordinary Jew at the time comes there, has a nice time at this party, but it's obviously a spiritual type of party and a spiritual experience ultimately. And he leaves it, and he leaves a prophet. He leaves a navi. That was the Beis Hamikdash. That's just how powerful the Beis Hamikdash is. You could walk in there and walk out and be a Navi just by walking in and out. Hannah, right? Hannah in the Bible, who was praying for kids for years, no answer from God, nothing until she loses her mind, so to speak. But she went to the Beis Hamikdash and prayed finally there. Then she's answered. There's obviously something here. And the fact that we don't have a Beis Hamikdash means we're missing this thing. But we need this thing. We need this thing. It's in our hearts. It's part of us. People say, what matters is that the temple is in your heart, and of course that's the truth. But the temple will be more so in your heart when it is also on the ground. We are connected to the ground of Israel. We are connected to the land of Israel. But my fear is that the Jewish people right now are not connected enough to the land of Israel, and they're not connected enough to something like the Beis Hamikdash. We are too afraid. Why is it that when Ben Gvir boldly takes a few Jews with him to go to the Temple Mount, finally yesterday, as he did on Tisha B'Av, he did this. What an amazing person, honestly. I the respect that I have for him, I cannot even put into words at this point for this and for a few other things, but for this. And FYI, I did actually get to meet him in person once, but that has hopefully nothing to do with this. I'm just being honest. I really respect Ben Gvir's move by taking a bunch of Jews, going with them. They went to the Temple Mount and they prayed to Hashem and they prostrated themselves before him, and they did it as the ritual prostration that our ancestors have done from thousands of years ago, where you prostrate your whole body on the ground. Not like you crouch, but rather you prostrate your whole entire body like you're laying on the ground. That's as you're supposed to do. They did this on the Temple Mount, on top of stone. Generally, the Torah says you're not allowed to do the ritual prostration of this form on stone, but you are allowed to do it on the Temple Mount. That is the whole idea. And they really did it as their ancestors have done. And they really did it. I mean, it was just an amazing scene for me to see. And they prostrate themselves and they say, Adonai hu Elohim, you know, that Hashem is God, that the Lord is God. And it's such, I mean, like I said, guys, it's raw content. I'm being emotional, but I will bring a point. But it was just such a meaningful, a truly meaningful thing to see as a Jewish person. And the point that I'm getting at is it's sad that after such an amazing thing, Ben Gvir has to be met with backlash from a political front. He's met with backlash from members in the Knesset because they're honestly afraid of Arabs and they're afraid that Jews having freedom of worship to worship wherever they want, as anyone should have, and especially to worship at their holiest site, they're afraid of that provoking the Arabs, and it's pathetic. It just is pathetic, and I could expound on this all day. It's not the point right now. Like, of course, no matter what you do, you're always provoking the Arabs. They never want peace with us, to be honest. And no, I'm not singling out the Arabs as a whole, as a people. Obviously not. Actually, some of the best people I've met are Arabs. I'm just saying, I'm talking about the Palestinians, or the bad element in the Palestinians, which, to be honest, is most of the Palestinians, but that's a totally different discussion. I'm just saying that, yeah, as far as the entire bad element that's within the Arabs as a whole, I will put it that way, you're always provoking them. They never want peace with you, and there's nothing you could do to achieve peace with them, and that is the real truth. So at the very least, when you have Israel as a sovereign country, when you have that sovereignty over your land of Israel, at the very least, you know what? Man up just a little bit, go on the Temple Mount and pray to God as your ancestors did, as you are supposed to, as your soul wants you to. That is the only way to find strength, and that's the only way that we will have peace. Because when we are at peace with ourselves, with who we are, then of course we will, in the end, be totally at peace in every way, because we are at peace with who we are. Peace comes from within. Like I said, I'm branding myself as a Jewish philosopher. Hear the philosophy in what I'm saying. Peace stems from within. And there's not a greater way, in some sense, there is not a greater way to show that peace from within than doing as your soul commands, doing as God truly commands, as your ancestors did, to prostrate the ritual prostration as they've done on the Temple Mount. I mean, it's the most glamorous thing that I could think of here. And this is just one thing that I feel that the Jewish world is missing. We are missing this focus, and we are afraid. And how can we get anywhere like this, guys? How? Just how? Yesterday I was watching a documentary in my shul on Tisha B'Av, and they showed some scenes and ideas about October 7th. All right, whatever. But they made an amazing point over there, where basically they showcased how on basically all the Hamas rockets and everywhere in Gaza, you see depictions of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And you could, and especially soldiers, Israeli soldiers that have gone into Gaza have seen this sentiment everywhere in Gaza now. And you could see how these people are hell-bent. They're so just, everything is tied in with this Al-Aqsa Mosque. And it shows you where their focus is. And unfortunately, this focus comes out in such an evil way as it does with Hamas, but it shows you what the focus is. Their focus, on to a great extent, is on this Al-Aqsa Mosque. It is, whether they're truly sincere about it or not, still, it is something that inspires this movement. It inspires them to recruit more young kids into this movement to do the things they do because they have their minds focused on this Al-Aqsa Mosque that belongs to them and they want control over it. And this is one of the holy sites of Islam. This is in their focus. Yet we Jews, why do we not have a Beis Hamikdash, a picture of the Beis Hamikdash in basically every single Jewish home? It's a tragedy. I'm sorry, and I maybe I sound a bit extreme, but maybe I don't literally mean to have a picture in every house. Although really we should. I really do mean that. Essentially, I just mean it's the focus. We don't have that focus. It's almost as if you walk in a Jewish neighborhood, wherever you are, so whether it's in Israel or outside, but especially if it's outside Israel, okay? You walk in your Jewish neighborhood and you see a random pizza store that has a really nice picture of the Beis HaMikdash in it. Some people are going to say, wow, that's really nice, and some other people are going to be like, yeah, it's really nice, but it's a little bit like, you could have just put a picture of some nice sunset that would have been a little more, I don't know, scene appropriate. Like, no, it wouldn't have been. The guy's Jewish. His focus is on the Beis Hamikdash. This is who he is. Okay? Not only should it be in some Jewish pizza stores in our neighborhoods, it should be in our house also. We're missing this focus, guys. We are. I'm sorry, but we are. All right? The Rambam. Let's talk history for 2 seconds. The Rambam had a shul and a kahila for a bit on the Temple Mount. The Ramban apparently as well. Why don't we have that right now? I almost feel enraged about it. And yes, there are reasons why we don't. There are political reasons why we don't. And to many, there are even religious reasons why we don't. But it's ridiculous. It's all based on fear. You know that you're actually allowed to go on the Har HaBayis. It's not an Isser. Only in certain parts of it, it's an Isser. Only in certain parts of it, you'll get kares for being tameh. And certain other parts, as long as you went to a mikvah, as long as you're tahar enough where you went to mikvah, even if you didn't get the purification of the red heifer of the paraduma, even if, still, as long as you went to a mikvah, to the ritual bath, then there are a lot of other places you can go on the Harabayas, on the Temple Mount, basically along the periphery of it. You could do that. And that's what the Jews with Ben Gvir did. They went to that area and they prostrated. The point I'm trying to get at is do what you can. Simply put, do what you can. Right now, there isn't the Beis Hamikdash standing per se. Unfortunately, not. And maybe you can't go to a certain area of the Harabayas without getting kares, without basically committing a sin by not being pure enough. I understand. Do what you can. Go on the part of the Temple Mount that you can go and prostrate yourself as you're allowed to do. God will appreciate it. Do what you can. And so to end, for now, I'm just going to say the message is do what you can. We, the people of Israel, we must continue to do what we can. And perhaps that's what we're missing. It's part of it. We're just not really doing what we can. But to also make this a more general point, we're not doing what we can to ensure, I feel like as Jewish people, especially as Orthodox Jewish people, we're not doing what we can to ensure our mental well-being. It's something I will expound on. We're not doing what we can to ensure a proper harmony between religiosity and just genuine living, even secularism. We're actually not doing what we can to really create the proper harmony with that. It's another part of the issue. And I also see, as I expounded on heavily over here, we're not doing what we can to progress our nation, to progress the spiritual aspect of our nation, and even the practical, just physical strength aspect of it as well. We're not really doing what we can because we're too afraid. And to end this off, obviously, as we know, the Gemara says that the Bayesheni, the second temple, was destroyed thanks to sinas chinam because of baseless hatred. So, of course, the main thing we must focus on, even besides the Beis Hamikdash, even besides keeping Shabbos, even besides anything, is actually just V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love thy neighbor as thyself. That is the first and foremost focus. We need to focus on loving each other, truly loving each other. Not, as Rav Avi Zakatitsky said, not just getting along, but truly loving each other to a point where you feel that you cannot live without your Jewish brother. That's actually the first and foremost focus. But as I will demonstrate here, it really is all connected. Because yes, I feel that as Jewish people, we're not focused enough on that. We've been trying, and we've been doing a great job ever since October 7th. But I think in some way, somewhere, we still are not focused enough on how we treat each other, which is the main focus of everything. That is the purpose of everything. But yet, we're not focused enough on that. But it bleeds into other things as well. This is why we're not focused enough on the Beis Hamikdash either. Because when we get along and when we truly love each other, where we can't live without each other, then we come together to do what we need to do. And we come together to do whatever we can do. We come together to make the world a better place and to progress the world as Jewish people as we can to eventually build the Beis Hamikdash, to eventually bring karbanas, to eventually have most or all people keeping Shabbos, to eventually having even greater, understanding of Torah, even greater das Torah, but these are, all these nice Jewish things that you want to accomplish, obviously that can only be accomplished when we come together. So you see the point. There are certain major focuses that we are missing as a Jewish people. We are missing, on some level, we are missing the focus of being together. Thereby, we are missing the focus of coming together to inaugurate the Beis Hamikdash once again, and thereby we are missing the focus to come together to do a lot of other major things that we must do as a nation, even just protecting ourselves, okay? Even just being strong, even just showing that we are not afraid of our enemies, because God topples them before us. As the verse says, you guys keep quiet and God will war for you, as Moses told the people when they were leaving Egypt. So thank you guys for hearing my voice. And, this is the main, basically, topic that you're going to hear through these podcasts, through these car musings, even just me talking to you guys myself, whatever it is. But the main point is going to be honing in on what the Jewish people are missing. The fact that we're missing harmony. Harmony, what a big word. The fact that we're missing harmony just being together, having the true love that we need together. Again, on some level we're missing it. We're doing a great job on some level. And the fact that we're missing harmony, for our mental health, that is, where we're missing the harmony between religiosity and our mental health. We're missing harmony between religiosity and secularism, you know, and just how to live a genuine life with your own personality. We're missing these harmonies. It's something we must focus on, guys. And it's something that I hope to expound on and to help whoever I can, and that I can do so with those that I will speak with in this podcast, my guests, my beloved guests, who I hopefully will soon have. Thank you guys for listening and have an amazing day.